Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Sometimes with these boxers, in finding a way to win and finding a way to entertain us, you see long term they end up losing. And what I mean by that is these guys end up with serious physical problems as well as mental health issues. But some of these guys end up with brain damage. And to understand brain damage is not necessarily meaning that a guy can no longer take care of himself or in a horrible situation like Pritchard Cologne. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you start showing signs of the slurred speech. You start showing signs of tremors. Guys start to become forgetful. You start knowing different twitching in your face, twitching in your body, and it's all horrible, right? So my thing is, because we always watch boxing, and on my channel, we talk a lot, and I'm always if there's a guy who I think has poor defense or no defense, I say that it's like Joe Joyce, his defense is his face. But I wanted to take time and do a quick little video to kind of talk about what we're seeing right now. Okay, it's almost like having an investment, man. You're looking 20 years down the road to see the return on your investment. You're not looking for what's going to happen tomorrow necessarily. I mean, of course, you're tracking the performance of whatever investment that you're making, whether it be S&P 500, an index fund, if it's just a mutual fund, emerging growth fund, if you're getting into crypto, you're going into real estate, you just wanted to simplify things and go with a low threat annuity, UTMAs for your kids, whatever it is, right? You are looking at your investment today and how it's going to grow. And I think when we look at these fighters, we need to take a look at the damage that they're taking today and just how that's going to grow down the road. Now, when we're talking about investments and we're looking at brain damage, the thing with investments is sometimes you see there's a market correction, or something will happen to where the market will start to recover, and you can see that you notice an upturn in your investment that may have been performing poorly. Now with these guys who've taken a lot of damage, I think in order to have a market correction for them in the direction that the damage they're taking, the direction that's going, is to either learn defense or stop boxing. So that being said, let's take a look at Joe Joyce, right? The juggernaut. Joe Joyce, no kidding. Right now, I mean this with all sincerity. I believe Joe Joyce could beat everybody at heavyweight. And I'm just being honest. I think Joe Joyce is like George Foreman, man. A 2023 George Foreman. You know what I'm saying? This guy can punch. This guy has a chin. He has stamina out of this world. And I think that's what really gets Joe Joyce to the finish line in his fights, and what helps him gets the knockouts. It's not necessarily his power, not necessarily his chin, but his endurance, his stamina. But the one thing about Joe Joyce that he's known for, and I don't think this is a good thing, is having a good beard on him. In every fight that Joe Joyce is in, no kidding, his defense is his face. I've been saying that, and I'm going to keep saying that. But 20 years down the road, where do we see Joe Joyce being as far as mentally? You know what I'm saying? As far as cognitively. He takes too many shots. And in his fights, he takes clean, hard power shots. And he eats them like grapes. And he keeps coming forward. But yet, he gets lauded, he gets praised. People give him an attaboy. You're a tough fighter, got the best chin in the business. We want to see Joe Joyce fight. Everybody loves Joe Joyce. But, I mean, who's sitting back talking to him saying, look, champ, you need to figure out how to get your head off the line of fire. Get your hands up. We know you're tough. We know you can walk guys down. But you can't take 20 to 25 shots to try to land you one. Or wait till the 6th or 7th round to really pick up the steam and walk your guy down and stop him. Let me tell you, if you're taking, let's just say on a conservative estimate, 20 to 30 clean punches a round, one to over 6 or 7 rounds, that's too many clean shots. 120 to 140. Power shots, not the jabbing, that's still bad. I'm talking about hard, the hooks, the straight left, straight right, uppercut, 4-5, horrible. So with Joe Joyce, I'm very concerned about where he's going to be in 20 years. Now, Derek Chisora, I think Derek Chisora is an extreme case of somebody who is beyond their expiration date and should not be fighting at all. I understand these guys are fighting. They're making $1, $2, $3 million a fight. What else can they do to make that kind of money? I understand it's a high. I understand how it makes them feel. I get it. But you look at Derek Chisora. Let's just look at, he fought Usyk. He got the hell beat out of him. He went and he fought Tyson Fury. Absolutely awful fight. Got the hell beat out of him. Got in there with Parker. He took some shots. You look at Derek Chisora when he fought Pulev. He took some shots. When he fought Dillian White, he took a lot of shots. So with Derek Chisora, his whole career, he's been known for being tough, being resilient, but his defense has been his face. You got the cross-arm defense like George Foreman, which does work for, I think, a less than stellar opponent, but still nonetheless, doesn't matter who he faces, Derek Chisora takes too much punishment. And 20 years from now, are we going to be sitting here saying, attaboy, good job? Or are we going to say, Eddie Hearn, if you cared about that man, you should have stopped it and not allowed him to go into any more fights. But, it is what it is. Then you got Jarrett Hurd. He has made a name for himself for being super tough. You can see the wear and tear. It showed up on him in his last fight. Jarrett Hurd has taken so much punishment in fights, even the fights he's won. Made a name for himself for having a beard, having stamina, having endurance. But as a result, he took a lot of damage. And you can see right now, for him to be such a young man, you can see the ill effects of taking a beating and using your face for defense. And it's an extremely sad case because he went from being a unified champion to basically a nobody. He's not even a gatekeeper. Like he's not even the kind of guy nobody wants to fight to have his name on their record. Like his name means nothing anymore. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. What I'm telling you is he took too much damage. I know he lost his father in activity, but I just don't think he has any chance in hell to come back to the top of any weight division from 154 to 168. I just don't think he can do it. Remember, everyone before saw him kind of as an alien. How in the world is this big guy getting down to 154 pounds? And you can just see that with Jarrett Hurd from weight issues, no resistancy, stamina, even his skill set, coordination, footwork, everything is just gone out the window. And I think that's just from the beating that he's taken in all of his fights. Even though he's won, he's took a lot of shots, especially the Arizona Lara fight. It was like death by 1,000 left hands. But he ended up winning it. But I'm just telling you, Jarrett Hurd, sad case. Josecito Lopez, look, my boy came out there, handled business against Victor Ortiz. I'd be saying Virgil Ortiz, but Victor Ortiz. In a great fight, back and forth fight, broke his jaw, got his name put on the map. Josecito Lopez never turned around again. But you look at the beating that he's taken. This man fought Canelo. This man fought Maidana. Recently, this man fought Keith Thurman, Cody Crowley. He's had some other fights too, tough fights where he takes a beating. But you think about him to still be plugging along and still out here getting the hell knocked out of him. I mean, you could fart. You could be 10 feet away from this man and fart and he'll fall over. His punch resistance has gone out the window. But he's taking a lot of damage. I'm very concerned about him. I mean, look, he's never going to win a title. We know over there in the Garcia camp, they got all kind of stuff going on. They got all kind of fruit cocktails, and it's all kind of sorcery going on to take a fighter his career is pretty much dead and breathe life back into him and manage to get him damn near close to the top, if not on the top. So when it comes to Josecito Lopez, I'm going to tell you, he's someone who I'm very concerned with long term. Now, probably I would say probably the most Well, I think Derek Chisora may be the most extreme case, but a close second is Gabe Rosado. What are we doing here? This man went out there, he fought Munguia, he fought Triple G, he fought Peter Quillen, he's fought everybody. Some could say, hey, we think he won a few of those fights. Look, Gabe Rosado gets hit too much. Freddie Roach is trying to, breathe life into a little second run in his career. We know he got the big knockout against the Beck Bully. Stars lined up for him on that night. He does have some power, but hey, look, at the end of the day, Gabe Rosado should stop fighting. this is going to be his first fight coming up where he's fighting at 175 against Zurdo Ramirez. But Gabe Rosado, we get it, Arturo Gatti. We loved Arturo Gatti when he was around. Blood and Guts Warrior, we get it. Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward, trilogy, outstanding fights. That's not something we need to see happening anymore. Gabe Rosado, to me, is beyond his shelf life, but in 20 years, I think we're going to be sitting back and paying attention to watching him and seeing how he speaks. I even did a video about Shane Mosley. It looked to me like Shane Mosley is suffering from some brain damage because Shane Mosley took a lot of damage, a lot of punches to the face. Somebody said Shane Mosley was just drunk. That's why he was slurring his words and kind of all over the place. But nonetheless, if a guy like Shane Mosley is showing some signs of taking too many shots to the head, and Gabe Rosado took way more than Shane Mosley, 20 years from now, what are we going to be saying? Edgar Berlanga is on his way to being the next Gabe Rosado. And what I mean is, his defense is his face. Berlanga has no defense. I know he's over there on Matchroom, and I know what they're trying to do with him. I think Berlanga, there's an opportunity now for him because he's still pretty early in his career. In his first 15 to 16 fights, he got the guy out of there by knockout. He didn't take a lot of damage, but the direction he's going, Gabe Rosado is going to be Edgar Berlanga, 20 years from now, we're going to be sitting back talking about, if they don't make the correction now, what could have been done to prevent his situation. I truly believe Edgar Berlanga, he has talent, he has skill, but he's got to develop defense. Ruslan Providnikov, the madman of boxing. I love that guy, seeing that guy fight. I wish he was still fighting. But he was another one. He'll let you hit him 25 times just for him to sit there and scream at you and rush you and let off a barrage of punches. But Providnikov is another guy. He's been retired for a while. But who knows what kind of signs may show up in him. I think he called it quits at the right time. If he would have kept fighting guys who hit hard with a good skill set and stamina, it may have been hard for a guy like Providnikov to continue with his boxing career anyway. He almost got Chris Algieri out of there. He damn near killed him in the first round. And then Algieri came back and outboxed him the rest of the fight. So what that tells you, if Algieri can find a way to win against a guy like Providnikov, imagine if Providnikov would have fought somebody else between 140 and 147 and the direction that could have gone for him. Dillian White, I think we should all be concerned for Dillian White. The type of knockouts, this man has no chin, no punch resistance. All that mouth, he has all that mouth and no chin. And to see him get knocked out like he did against, what's his name, the Russian dude, man, Povetkin, crazy knockout. How Anthony Joshua knocked him out, crazy knockout. How Tyson Fury knocked him out, crazy knockout. So what that tells you about a guy like Dillian White is he probably should be looking more to exiting the sport of boxing. He just can't. I know they say getting hit with one shot and knocked out that way, that's much better than just getting beat on round after round after round. But at the same time, you keep getting these concussions, then coming back to boxing. I just don't see that being good at all. But for Dillian White, I think he's another one who needs to call it quits before it's too late. Virgil Ortiz, outstanding fighter, pretty good defense, but Virgil Ortiz will take some shots to get his off. He has that fight in him. He has will in him, and he's a competitor. Tough guy, doing great. I think he poses a serious threat to anyone at 147 because he's just got it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I don't like to see these guys like him getting hit like the way he does. And I don't think it's because he wants to get hit. Some of these guys like to be in a gunfight. I remember when I used to spar, I used to come out. Sometimes, not like I wanted to get hit, but I don't know. It's kind of. No, I'm just gonna tell you what. It felt good. to come out of there and know you got hit. You know what I'm saying? We just sit back, talk, and laugh. But I don't know what I think it's hard to explain it to somebody who's probably never boxed. I'm not saying I wanted to get hit, but it just I don't know, it does something, man. Like I don't know if it's adrenaline rush or I don't know how to describe it, but it's like I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? Like I enjoyed fighting. But for Virgil Ortiz, I think they need to pay attention because he could be heading on that path. Now I'm gonna tell you, someone who I think took serious damage, right? And I'm not gonna get into all the crap between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, but Deontay Wilder. When's the last time you guys, from this era, the eras before us, right? Have you ever seen somebody get beat to within an inch of their life, like you saw with Deontay Wilder in the second Fury fight and the third Fury fight? I've never seen anything like it. I remember in that second Fury fight, Wilder sitting on his stool with his head down. JD is trying to rub him, and Deontay Wilder just hit his head down, and it's like he was saying, "I'm tired, boss." Like in the Green Mile, boss, I'm tired. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm trying to draw a comparison to what I'm saying when you see that guy in the Green Mile who's just like, he can't do it no more. That's how Deontay Wilder looked. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious. Like he just tired, can't do it. But his pride went back out there. His corner stopped the fight. I think that was the best thing that they could have done. He comes back in the third fight against Tyson Fury. I mean, just took the type of beating he took. Don't get me wrong, he held his ground, but the type of beating he took, nobody should take that kind of beating, man. And I really feel that's why he cried after that Helenius fight, talking about you don't know what could show up 20 years from now, the effects of the beating you took in the ring, brain damage. Because I think it crosses his mind, him not being able to be there for his kids because of what happened between him and Tyson Fury in those fights. But that being said, Deontay Wilder's a tough guy. But say what you want about Mark Breland. I know Mark Breland had connections to the Kronk camp. I know that for a fact. But I'm going to tell you this. Mark Breland may have really saved that man's life, especially if there was foul play going on Tyson Fury's side, which there's no proof, but where the smoke is fire. But if there, in fact, there was some foul play going on with those gloves, Tyson Fury being on the cocktails, the Usman Sajak fruit cocktails, and just had, the Kinahan influence and judges and everything else. It just, Tyson, the best thing that happened for Deontay Wilder in that second fight was to get pulled out. In the third fight, it is what it is. Just all around bad medicine. But for all of these guys that we're sitting here talking about, if I could rack and stack them on a from 1 through, so we got 4 at the bottom, 6, we got 10, right? I'm gonna rank them from 1 through 10. Who I think is the number 1 would be the one who's more than likely gonna show brain damage in 20 years, and the number 1 maybe Derek Chisora. My number 2 would be Gabe Rosado. Number 3 would be Deontay Wilder. My number 4 would be Jared Hurd. My number 5 would be Josecito Lopez. My number 6 would be Joe Joyce. My number 7 would be Providnikov. My number 8 would be Dillian White. My number 9 would be Virgil Ortiz. My number 10 would be Berlanga. So my number 1 guy on this list is Chisora. And he's the one out of all. I'm worried about them all, but he's the one where I'm the most worried about. So that being said, hope you enjoyed the video. A little bit different from what these content creators are making. But I'm not a bandwagonist. I'm not going to kill you with Spence and Crawford every day. The stuff that I'm sharing with you, these are things that I actually think about. So I guess, that's a reason why you see me create these videos. This is what I enjoy, man. And when I'm watching these fighters, these are things that I really think about. I don't know why I'm like that. Maybe because, people has always been a priority to me. And I think our most valuable resource is our human capital and just people as a whole. And when I look at these guys, they bring a lot to the table. They have something to offer. But man, I just think 20 years from now, for these guys who are still fighting, if they don't get it together defense-wise, man, they may be in bad shape. But that being said, man, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. Which fighter will show signs of brain damage in 20 years? Do your rack and stack and let me know in the comments. I'm in the breeze.